Goodfellas in the back.
Hey, you guys. Welcome. This is the Donovan Sadiq Show. I am your host, the humble Donovan Sadiq, as you guys know. And I just want to welcome you guys on this day. It's Saturday, January 9th, 2021. And we're going to be doing this on the video cast as well. But I just kind of wanted to try to knock two things out at one time. So please bear with me. A lot of raw stuff going to be going on here. I'm doing the video, the podcast, whole bunch of stuff. So how are you guys doing today? A lot of stuff has been happening this week. As we know, for the first time in American history, a sitting president has tried to overthrow the government. And it's amazing because there are so many of his followers that are seeing what they saw and they still don't believe it, like a cult. They refuse to believe what their eyes are showing them and seeing to them. And they don't call it a coup. A duly elected person was voted into office, and they still refuse to accept the results of that election. And it's just, it's just a shame. It's a shame, and basically a sham. You hear them constantly talking about it, and I'm going to show a few clips of that later on, where they're constantly talking about, oh, the election was stolen. This is what happened. And, it's just not good for America. They're, stop the steal. Then you just ask them the basic question of, okay, you're saying the election was stolen. Well, how? Show us. They have no proof. They have nothing to show. Zero. I mean, if you're going to say that this election was stolen, which is your right to say that, I have a right to ask you for proof. And in 63 court cases across the United States, the only one Donald Trump interests won was a procedural thing. And then in most of those cases, they went in there saying, the lawyers went in there saying, this complaint is not about election fraud. So this is public record. So what is it that they're not understanding of the basic complaint? Just read the basic complaint in the courts. The first thing that is said by the attorney representing Donald Trump or a Donald Trump election or whatever, whoever it is, alleging fraud. The first thing that they're saying is, this case is not about fraud. Giuliani is even on there saying, well, this is not about fraud. But yet people still say, stop the steal. Okay, where is the evidence? Oh, well, it's all on the major news cycles. But that isn't evidence. Very scary how these are the people that are supposed to be the adults in the room. But hey, I'm Donovan Sadiq. This is the Donovan Sadiq Show, and we are going to talk about a lot of stuff today. I got 40 minutes to entertain you, and I want to talk about a young lady, and I'm going to say young lady because it is not very good to talk about a woman's age. She looks young to me. As far as I'm concerned, she is a young lady. I know I'm older than her. I know that for a fact. So her name is Tamara Johnson-Shealey. Okay, Tamara Johnson-Shealey. And a lot of you guys out here on the West Coast have never heard of her before. Okay. And the reason why you never heard of her before is because she hails from the great state of Georgia, right outside Atlanta. She ran this election cycle for senator of the great state of Georgia against Warnock and all the groupings, there's whatever. So there was like 20 something people in the primaries, and she ran in the primary, and she's been very, very active. And I want you guys, if you guys are watching this and listening to this, she will be on the Tamara K Show tomorrow. So do not forget to tune in tomorrow to the Tamara K Show, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or just go to my Facebook page and, it's going to be there on the Facebook page. So, but, the funny thing is I was on the War Zone with Tamara K and the 5-Star General. And that show, as you guys know, is based out of Houston. And on the show, somebody sent me a video of this lady. And I said, okay, I'll take a look at it. And so I looked at the video and I was so freaking impressed, because it just confirms to me what I've been saying all along. Dimitri's been saying, the 5-Star General's been saying, the new black media has been saying. People, we are the same everywhere, but you have people that have different ideas than the sheeple, okay? And, I'm listening and watching this lady's video, and I'm thinking, the whole time I'm listening to her, I'm thinking about Tamara K. I'm thinking about Nina Turner. I'm thinking about all of these things that we say here. Never met this lady before in my life. She almost had the exact same platform that I had, and she's in Georgia. She's run for office. She's active. She's woke. I mean, it's just amazing. So for those of you guys that are watching the video cast, I want you to take a look at this lady and what she has to say, because we're saying the same thing. And before we go to the video, what I want to tell you guys is this. Why is it in the black community that we cannot go against the grain and think that there's another option that we have? Why is it in the black community we could only do one thing? It's not plausible that this could be true. It's only true because my mama said it's true, my grandmama said it's true, my great granddaddy said it's true, and so on, so on, and so forth. But if you look at our plight, we're not getting any better. We're getting worse. You've got these young ladies where I live here in Southern California that are out there on the track. And if you guys don't know what the track is, they're out there selling their bodies because the opportunities are not there. And the one thing black people lack is resources and money. That's why reparations is the only thing that's going to solve our problems. However, you have these black Negroes out here who are worried about how another person is going to spend their money. Okay. And, the funny thing is, it's always the older generation that is telling the younger generation to stay in your place. Wait your turn. And these people are now going into their 70s, in some cases in their late 80s. We just elected a president that is 78 years old, the oldest president ever elected. And then when you ask people, well, why'd you vote for Biden? Well, I think he's going to be more like Obama. How can a white man be more like Obama? And Obama isn't ADOS, and he didn't do nothing for you either after 8 years of his presidency. So for you guys watching the video, I want you guys to take a look at this lady. Her name is Tamara Johnson-Shealey. And tell me what you think, and we'll come back with more talk. So for you guys that are on the podcast, so let's get back to what we were saying in regards to the podcast. So very impressive lady. Please do not miss her. And what I was wondering about this lady is the fact that she is so woke. I mean, she's uncompromising. And if you guys, she has a YouTube channel. I'm going to put all that stuff up there for you guys. And, you really got to listen to this person, because she is just, just so impressive. For the video cast. Okay, we are back. So that was Sheila. I'm saying Sheila. Bleh. God, today's not my day. Tamara Johnson-Shealey. I mean, the sister is woke. And here's the funny thing. And, everybody's all excited about this Warnock guy who says that he's not for reparations. Now, here's a guy that basically, and it bothers me to high heaven. It just bothers me. He runs on 75% of the black story, the ADOS black story. Okay, stop. If you're if you've migrated here from the Caribbean, if you've migrated here from Africa, you do not have the same story as we have. Okay, you have a different story. So stop including yourself in this story. This is a specific story to Americans that are descendants of slaves. Okay, this is our specific story. This has nothing to do with you. Yes, we have the same color skin. However, our story is different than you. And the reason I'm saying that is because, yes, you do experience the same amount of racism here that we do and all of that good stuff. But the difference is you guys, because of your story, which is totally different than our story, you guys come here and go get it. You know what I mean? Because you guys know who you are. We are the only specific black people in the world that had their identity completely stripped from them. Yes. Are we of African descent? Absolutely. But I can't tell you what tribe I'm from. You can tell me what tribe you're from. So, you've got to take yourself out of our story because it's a totally different story. And your story is awesome. And it's just as great and legitimate as any other story, but it's not the American story. Okay. So, and that's not to be divisive. If you guys understand what I'm saying, you really do understand what I'm saying. So here we are, we're in this melting pot and we're going through all of this, and everybody knows that money and reparations is the only thing that's going to solve black people's problem. And I was talking to an older black gentleman, and he did the math, and he's a good guy, and I like debating these guys. He did the math, and black people, according to his calculation, now this is an older black man, okay? Older than me. He would be in the baby boomer generation. And he's telling me, and I don't want to say this to be disrespectful, but the ignorance of the older generation. I'm not an absolute person, so please don't even go there with me on that. It's just the outright ignorance of this person, because he gives me the numbers and he says, oh, well, if you do that, sorry about that real quick. So he breaks down the numbers of reparations because he's so adamant that we can't get it. He's like, well, that only breaks down to $8,800 and something dollars per person. Sir, just because you have black skin, just like I just said, doesn't mean you're going to get a check. Okay? You are not ADOS. You are not us. Okay? We're talking about 4 to 5 generations back to slavery, that people, that came from slavery. It's in the National Archives. These records are here. People have it right there in their house. Go look at those old photo albums, those old birth certificates. It's right there. How are you going to sit there and say that, we can't trace our slavery? If we were slaves, that means we were property. Did they not buy and sell black people? I think they did. And if they buy and sell, there's receipts and there's transactions. And some slaves were so valuable, insurance was put on them. So don't tell me it can't. We're talking about only 4 or 5 generations. So a good example, my grandfather is 97 years old. He's still alive. He's 97 years old. He was born in, I believe, 1926 or something like that. I forget, 27, I don't know. Yeah, about 27. Let's say 1926, 27. So if the average, and everybody back then had big families. So you could be an older gentleman, unlike today. And, and it's amazing how people try to antiquate the economics of why, older people don't have children. It's based on economics, because if I could afford to have 15 kids out there, I would. You know what I mean? I'm still capable of having children, right? But I don't do it because it isn't economically feasible for me to do so. But back in the day, it's not unusual for people to have big families, black, white, whoever. That was not unusual to have big family. My mom is the oldest of 12. My dad is the second oldest of, I think, live births. I think there was over 20 of them. And he's the second oldest. And right now, my dad's side, I believe there's at least 15 or 16 of his siblings still alive, being that my dad has passed on. So this is feasible stuff here. So if my dad was born in the 1920s, given that his father most likely lived a fairly long life, I guess, let's say my great-grandfather was born in the 1900s, just 1900. So you're talking from 1900 to 1865, the end of the Civil War. That's what? 35 years. So that could be 3 generations. So don't tell me it can't be done, okay? But so that 8,000 something number he came up with doesn't make sense because he's including everybody that has black skin, and everybody that has black skin is not going to get reparations. And then you have, I mean, it's just amazing to me at how these baby boomers keep saying it's not going to happen. They keep drilling that into people's head, but yet Gavin Newsom of California, the governor of California, passed a reparations bill, and it's not a study. It is not a study. He passed the bill. It is going to actually happen. And it's not a study. It's just a matter of distributing it at this point. Okay? So, and Tamara, Miss Johnson-Shealey, she talks about reparations and she is unapologetic. I mean, there is her platform. Okay? She's like, this is my platform. This is what I stand for. This is what we should do. But we constantly vote for oppression. It doesn't make sense. Why would people vote for a person who says he's not for reparations? Here's a man who goes all over Georgia talking about, I come from a poor neighborhood. My parents were sharecroppers. I don't really know Mr. Warnock's whole political spill, but this is kind of what I heard, little bits and pieces. Student loans I had to do. I mean, he basically has the same story as 75% of us have, okay? How do you have this story and you're against reparations? That doesn't, it's just not computing for me. And Miss Johnson-Shealey points this stuff out, and yet this guy made it out of the primaries. We keep voting for these type of people. How do you vote for somebody that says, I won't even give you a check, but yet you are so dependent on the Democratic Party and a white woman, Nancy Pelosi, who is overwhelmingly voted into office by non-blacks, and that's your hope of getting $600. You're excited about $600 when this candidate here is talking about getting you some real money. But the election's over. So that's not what I'm trying to say here. If you guys have been following my series, I've been highlighting the Congressional Black Caucus, and I've been showing you guys exactly what their records are. So if you've been in the Congressional Black Caucus and you've been in Congress for at least over 2 terms, sometimes some of these guys have been in there for 30 years. The oldest representative of the Congressional Black Caucus was elected in 1991. So that would give that person almost 30 years, no, almost 40 years if you think about it. No, about 30 years. Okay, so let's say about 30 years in Congress. And then after 30 years in Congress, you look at their records and nothing for black people. Nothing specifically for black people. And then when you call them or you talk to them or you talk to their representative and you say, hey, where's the black agenda? They're like, oh, no, we got to do for everybody. You heard Kamala Harris say it herself. You don't expect me just to do just something specifically just for black people? No, No. You heard her say that. And you heard the inflection in her voice. And this is the woman that went to an HBCU. Are you guys connecting what I'm saying here? Kamala Harris, as we know, went to an HBCU, Howard University. But yet she can't do anything specific for Black people. Is that what the HBCUs are about? Not doing for Black people? Is that what she learned there? Besides being a thought? And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying that because it's the truth. So don't get upset. And it's amazing how people get upset when you tell the truth. How else would you categorize a woman who is in a relationship with a married man? Regardless of, I don't know if Willie and his wife were separating or whatever. It is what it is. I'm a single man, divorced man, whatever. I'm out there, doing what I need to do, right? But the minute I meet a woman and she tells me she's married, I ain't doing it. Number one, because I believe in karma. I don't want that shit coming back on me. So, so where did she learn this thoughtism? And this is what we want to talk about. And, Miss Johnson-Shealey, she has a movement that she has started. She reminds me so much of Nina Turner and, how unapologetic she is about what she's saying. But what really turned me on about the video about this young lady is the fact that she told the story of a man, an older man, that was just tired of voting. He didn't want to vote anymore because nothing was changing. He kept giving his vote and nothing was changing. Now, our problem as Black people, in my opinion, is the fact that we don't do our homework. And I've been using this analogy a lot when it comes to our public servants. A lot of us have jobs, okay? I'm retired. I don't work anymore. I haven't worked since 2012. I made the right decisions financially. I'm financially free, debt-free. Thank God. I had a mom, a strong mother that kicked ass when ass needed to be kicked and said, this is how it is. She didn't give me a facade of how the world is. She told me and showed me exactly how it is. I always remember my mother said, never think when it comes down to it that white man is going to be on his side and you will be on yours. And it is what it is. I have some great white friends. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but that's just human nature. And we got to stop dealing with that stuff. It is what it is, people. Human nature. So, so she's telling, and this guy's just tired of voting because nothing's changing. And my analogy is that with that, since most of you guys out there had jobs, I can't say you have jobs now, but you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys have worked. You've been in the workforce. So you've been in the workforce and you've been working there 6 months. After 6 months of working, do you expect a raise? Okay, let's just say after 6 months, that's the jobs policy is to do an employee review. Don't they do that? They just don't let you work and just say, okay, we showed you how to do your job. We showed you how to do this. Have at it for the next 15, 20 years. We're not even going to check on you, right? Does the military do that? Absolutely not. Not in the Air Force. I know that for a fact. You have these things, and you guys listening to me, you guys know what I'm talking about. We have these things called the EPRs and the OPRs, or at least that's what it was called when I was in service. The enlisted performance report, and you have the officer's performance reports, and you had to meet certain goals, or you get evaluated, and if you don't meet those certain goals, you might not be offered re-enlistment if that's what you want to do. They might just say, thank you, let your contract run out, and you have a nice day. You get your honorable discharge and you go about your business. But let's say if you're one of those people and you're like, oh my God, I want to stay, but you didn't meet the battery of what they expected out of you. You're not progressing in your career. Marine, Army, it's a little different. There's a lot of physicality there. You got to do a lot of, training. There's a lot of repetitive training. The Air Force, there's a lot of training too, but they expect you to also to do a lot of book stuff. The Air Force is the only branch for the enlisted people that has a community college of the Air Force. I'm a graduate of that. Got 2 degrees through the Air Force, applied associate degrees, and it's called applied associate because you're actually doing the job of your degree. Which any employer would see that and be like, wow, this guy, yeah, he's not only do they know theory, they've actually done the job. So that makes it a little bit different. But the Community College of the Air Force is the biggest community college in the world. So, So, they sit you down, they give you this performance report, and they say, okay, boom, 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 boom. If you don't make those things, great. If you did make them in the military, there's your promotion. There's this, there's that. There's your incentive, to keep your career going. It might be the difference between you going and staying, So if they do that in the military and they do that in your job, why do we not do that when it comes to our public servants? Every 2 years, we have to look and we should be giving them a performance report. And how do you do that? I know you guys are saying, well, how do you do that? Well, look out your front door. If you are living in a ghetto, or you're living in a place where there's a bunch of graffiti, if you're living in a place where it's high crime, that's the performance report of your representative right there. But see, our problem is, especially in the Black community, we want somebody else to save us when we should be saving ourselves. And then the very people like this Warnock guy who is using Dr. King's church as a dog whistle to the older generation. Well, I'm the caretaker of Dr. King's church. It's just religion and politics do not mix. And this is what's crazy about Mr. Warnock to me. Did not Jesus say, do not be of this world? People that follow me, do not be of this world. The church leaders. Did he not say that? Do not be of this world. So is Mr. Warnock going to be taking a salary from the United States government? From you, the taxpayer? How can you be a Black person in Congress and have no specific Black agenda? I just don't understand it. But you have an agenda for a Hispanic. You have an agenda for the LGBTQ. And, again, for those that are listening, I'm not mad at them. A lot of people will use what I'm saying and say, oh, you hate Hispanics or you hate. No. I live in a Hispanic neighborhood. My neighborhood originally started off as white. Then the white flight happened. Then, the Blacks started coming in and the white flight and stuff started happening. And then now the Hispanics are coming in and the Asians. I'm the last Black guy on the block. I'm the last Black guy on the block. And everybody knows it. I've been here longer than anybody else. So nobody really bothers me. And they kind of know what I do because I'm the guy in my community that if there's a street light out or if there's graffiti somewhere or if somebody needs help and they don't know what to do, I'm the guy that they come to and I say, hey, so basically I'm basically the block captain like the old days. There was always a block captain in the neighborhood. We didn't need to call the police in a dispute between neighbors. We kind of took care of it ourselves. There's a mutual understanding of, what's going on, so we didn't do that. But that's what we need to do. But Black people, we always want other people to save us when we should be saving ourselves. If you depend on somebody else to feed you, then that very same person that you depend to feed you is the very same person that has the ability to starve you. Very, very powerful words there. That's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. So, I'm going to be really, really watching this Warnock guy. And I'm going to show you how ignorant our people are. And I hate to keep saying, and exposing this, but this is our boule Black people. I had a lot of my HBCU graduate friends, PhDs, master degrees, Black girl magic, keep telling me that, oh, look, he's the first Black senator elected since the Civil War. That's not true. That's not true. He's not. He's the second. He's the second. Everybody keeps forgetting Tim Scott. And I'm going to do a video on this. I want you guys to look at the video later on when I put it up. Why is it that Tim Scott is always forgotten when it comes to black firsts? He was elected in his own right from the great state of South Carolina in 2016. 2016. Now, last I checked, South Carolina, who started the Civil War, I might remind you, is in the Deep South. But why does the Democratic Party, and they keep pushing this? Everybody has smartphones, but nobody Googles anything. No, nobody outside of California knows what a monster Kamala Harris is. Nobody knows that. Why? They don't care. They don't know what Aunt Maxine is about. This is a congresswoman that's been there for 30 years. And right there in the White House, she has a limo and is driven wherever she needs to go. Does that sound like a public servant to you? And then she is representing one of the poorest neighborhoods in Congress? But we're quick to jump on these people when they call our neighborhood shitholes. The question you need to be asking yourself is, are they right? Is where I live a shithole? Baltimore used to be beautiful. When I used to go there in the 90s, I used to fly to there's both an Air National Guard area and a reserve unit. And we would go out there and I would go to the Riverwalk. I thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever saw because I had never seen black people looking like they're in love and holding hands as they're walking on the Riverwalk. And I was like, wow, great seafood there, by the way, too, on that little Riverwalk area, that little pier area. But then, I believe it was Kwame Mufuse. He was a representative during the time that I was there. Then he went on to be the CEO of the NAACP and left his seat. Elijah Cummings came in and the place went to hell in a handbasket. I was there 2 years ago and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Baltimore. Black people just living like it was unbelievable. And don't get me wrong, every state and major city has a very, very depressed area. But notice, is it depressed because, that's the natural way of things? Or is it being depressed so that people could come in there and gentrify it? Why aren't we asking these questions? You go to Compton, California right now. Compton, California, an area where Maxine Waters represents. It's been gentrified. The LA Rams and the LA Chargers play across from where the old Forum, where the Lakers used to play in the 80s. She moved all of her constituents, people that normally would have voted for her, out so that a big stadium could be built. And I can almost guarantee if you look at her campaign donations and you look at the people who built that stadium, you're going to see a correlation to how everything is working. I'm just saying. But thank God we have the new black media and we have people out there like a Tamara Johnson-Shealey out there fighting. But it just makes no sense to me why these type of people, the Nina Turners and, these people who are really putting it on the line and they mean what they say and they say what they mean can't get elected. And then we wonder after 4 years of a Democratic or Republican, it doesn't even matter if it's Democrat or Republican. It just seems, we're not progressing. We're right back to square one. I get ignorant statements like, well, give him a chance. He just got in office. No. Nobody gets any passes. No passes. No freaking passes. So if I did give him a chance like I've been doing for 50 years and it doesn't work out, am I not back to square one? Then you're going to be saying the same goddamn thing about that person. Well, give them a chance. They just got into office. No, hell no. If you don't have a black agenda, you shouldn't be getting my vote. Period. Period. You know, a lot of people constantly challenge me in regards to politics. And again, black people, we do not do our homework. We love symbolism. We love the sound bites. We are in a pandemic and people are still freaking dancing in the streets like everything's going to be okay. But these are the very same people that'll say, oh, I'm about to be homeless. Oh, I'm about to, I need my food stamps. Oh, woe was me. But you got money for $400 weave in your head and $90 nails every 2 weeks, 3 weeks on your hands. Kids are eating fucking top ramen. And then you wonder why they, by the time they turn 16 years old, they're diabetic or they're grossly obese. Don't you have a goddamn mirror? And then you want to blame the black man who's not in the home because of the system tells you he can't be in the home if you're taking Section 8. And even if he was in the home, you knew he was the drug dealer around the corner and you had a baby with him and you expect that man to change. Then you want to get mad because then, you know, the brother goes and gets him something else. Damn it. Why should he be happy? But, you know, but people always challenge people like myself. And they go, well, you know, what are you doing? Are you not listening to my podcast? Are you not watching me on the War Zone? Are you not watching me on my own videos? Am I not sounding the alarm? Am I not telling you what's going on? Now, a lot of stuff people do, they do in silence. I don't need to tell you everything I have to do. But why don't you ask yourself this question? In all the years that I've been doing and calling out politicians in my neighborhood where I live, I haven't been sued once. I wonder why that is. And yes, if you are wondering, have I ran for office? Yes, I have. Have you? Jackass? You know, don't come for me if you haven't done it yourself. Don't worry about what I'm doing. You worry about what you're doing. And what you're doing is you keep leading our people to nowhere. Can we try something else? So I want you guys to really, really tune in to the Demetra K Show tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. Again, I am so impressed with this person and it gives me hope because, you know, there are days where I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. You know, why am I doing this? If it wasn't for the pandemic, I'd be like, if Martin Luther King lived, I would be like Martin Luther King. You guys remember that episode of the Boondocks where like Martin Luther King lived and he saw the plight of black people and he just decided to move to Canada? That's exactly what I would frickin' be doing. I just say, fuck it, I'm out of here. I'm done. But I can't. I'm a recovering Democrat. I love my people so much that I'm willing to put it on the line. And there's the good thing is there's other people like myself that's willing to do it too. You know, I love it. I've met so many people on this journey and, you know, this narrative that the black man ain't shit and the black man ain't doing this. That's not true. We're there. There's a lot of us doing stuff quietly. Yes. Are women out in the forefront? Yes. But it's like I've been telling you, black women especially love to be mentally masturbated. They love it. They love to be told how great they are and all this other good stuff. And you've got some black women out there, like your Simone Mammy Sanders and your Jean Pierre, whatever her name is, that are willing to drop their britches because they're not wearing thongs. That linebacker, Simone Sanders, ain't wearing no goddamn thongs. And willing to do the bidding of white supremacy. You know, not everybody's going to make the boat. That's just the bottom line. So again, I mean, there's just so much, but you guys check out the video as well. The video is going to be a little different than this, but we're going to get into it on the video. But I want you guys to remember, check out Tamara K. She is on the African Diaspora News Channel, and she dropped a lot of knowledgeable things. Did you guys see the one where she was talking about Assata Shakur? Check that out. I was so impressed with that. I was just like, damn, she dropped it. Also, don't forget to check out on Facebook, Huey P. Newton. This brother's up there in Dallas, Texas, and he has a plan for our people. Check him out, support him. He's a younger brother, and that's what I'm saying. We need to get these. There's a lot of young people that are getting involved because they don't want to hear this handkerchief head bullshit, be patient and stuff. This is a different breed of people, and he's one of them. So you got that. And, and don't forget to check out my man, Damian Jones podcast. That brother drops a whole bunch of knowledge. And I just love listening to his podcast. I love listening to what he's doing. He's putting it on the line out there and just telling it as it is. And he's not just coming because he's an armchair quarterback. He's been there, done that. That's why a lot of you people who sit on your asses and you want to criticize all the damn time, and then when we show you what we've done, then we say, okay, what you got? You try to change the story. Yeah. We know how it works. We know exactly how it works. But if you guys got insurance needs, please check out this young lady. You live in California and Nevada. Please check out this young lady. Her name is Shemaya Osipitan. And, she does insurance all over the place. You can find her on Facebook. She has a Gmail account. You guys just, come over to my page. I'll show you what it's at. Or you guys can give her a call for your insurance needs. It's 702-969-9651. This is another young person who is not waiting for somebody else to feed her. Okay? She's not waiting. She's out there doing the damn thing, and she's doing it. And I'm just so proud of her. I've known this young lady all of her life. Comes from a great family, and she wasn't taught to sit there and let somebody else do what she should be doing for herself. Period. Everybody talks about black, but then you say, well, who's your insurance person or your insurance agent? It's a white person. It's a Mexican. Group economics, black people. Group economics. $1.73 trillion comes into the black community every year, and we give 90% of it away to the other man instead of the brother man. Okay. Hey guys, don't forget to check me out on the War Zone. I will be on the War Zone Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in California. And again, do not forget to check out the New Black Media. We just had an insurrection by a bunch of white folks. Now, and if you think about it like this too, these white folks came here, took this land that didn't belong to them, and now they think it's their land, and they're willing to overthrow this so-called democracy for fascism. And I'm going to talk about that in my video presentation. It's going to be awesome. But I'm going to get back into the video stuff, and we're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. But, we really got to do better as a people, as a nation. Stop listening to these people that keep telling you what you can't do. They kept telling us there would never be a black president in my lifetime, and it happened, even though he wasn't ADOS. They never said there would be a black vice president, even though we know she's whatever. But she says she's black, so I'll go with that. It happened. They said that you would never get reparations. It happened in California. Stop listening to the naysayers. This is why your black ass ain't got nothing. Because you actually believe what they tell you about black people. That we ain't shit. That we are monsters. We're this. We're violent. All the negativity. But who's at fault? Who is the person at fault? I don't care what a person says. The crime is if you believe it. I'm Donovan Sadiq, you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Donovan Sadiq Show. You guys have a great Saturday, great weekend. One of my favorite songs. William Devon, be thankful for what you got. I'll be on the Demetra K Show tomorrow. You guys tune in. Tamara, Johnson-Shealey.